Yo,
Yes, yes, yes.
oh, you fixed the
Yes,
order,
yes,
huh?
yes. I
This guy.
fixed the order.
It's not because Ash can't do that, man. What are you doing? Stop messing with it.
What's up, everyone?
Where is
Ash,
everyone?
why are you again in your teenage daughter? Where is she? What have you done?
Boom,
No
by the way.
comment. No
Yeah.
comment. No comment.
What happened to your studio? You set up your light, your mic. Where is your mic?
I got burnt down. The whole thing got
What?
burnt.
You lost your mic?
I lost my mic, which means my studio is not usable. So this is the next best place. My
The
daughter's.
next available room. Yeah, your daughter's room. Wes, Ash, how you guys been? How was your week from 1 to
Ash, you go
79?
first, man, because I'm done.
Yeah, you don't want to bring the mood down. Whereas my my week has been 8-9,
Hmm.
8-9. Like I was saying off air,
That's 1 to 10 though, but I asked from 1 to 79.
Oh,
89.
89.
Ooh,
Interesting.
the week got increasingly
Eight
better.
slash 9. Yeah, no, it's
Yes?
been all right. It's been all right. Busy,
Mine's
busy,
good.
good.
Mine's good. I just had a really long shit day and lots of shit to do and just trying to catch up. I started the week in Milan. It was good, like booming, living life.
Oh,
Bopped
yeah.
in and
Yeah,
out.
you went to San Siro as well.
Jumped to Leeds, bopped in and out, back at my desk. Really interesting like projects, workshops, all shit's good. But I should be living life. It's great. I'm just in a bad mood, grumpy. I need that. I need a shot. I'm also my week's been really good. Like I've got this lovely candle that's actually got my face on it, and this is the West edition. Still can't really work out what smell I am, but it would be good.
It smells like you after 15 Negroni in
And
the worst
I'm a
bars of Nottingham.
I'm a star. Has anybody worked out what's happening yet? I'm part of the BBA Summit and I'm doing my workshop for free. Purpose workshop, an insight to what we do in workshops with clients that Marty Numia taught us and taught me, and we're going to run it live for 2 hours. So if you want to sign up, I've just banged my my link in the chat. We are on a little race between all of the talkers and workshoppers, and I hadn't really got many sales or got anyone sign up yet because I kind of only promoted it 2 days ago. Whoops. But we're
Ciao
good.
Matteo from Italy. Michael.
Yes. Why didn't you see us in Milan? I was there. I was actually almost going to put a little post out to see if anyone's there, but I just didn't. Yeah, I would have loved to it. But I made a few friends. I made friends with a bartender. You know, we went out with him the next night. You know, true West style. Like make friends everywhere we go. Drink lots of Negronis.
Especially.
How long were you there for?
Literally 2 days in and out. Boom. I was like dip my toe in. It was very wet. Very wet. Just gonna say that.
Not enough to be arrested. Anyway, guys, everyone, welcome to the show. Let us know where you're joining us. If it's your first time, if it's not your first time, if it's your first time, welcome to the water cooler, casual banter with incredible people around brand and marketing. Our guests are secrets. We had some incredible people. We had huge caliber, medium caliber, small caliber, micro caliber, no caliber, but every single time we had some great conversation. And today is no exception for that. Actually, someone we were looking for quite a while to have on the show. So, guys, shall we?
Let's do it.
Shall we? So, today's secret person is one of those rare people that you can geek on brand and marketing and just dig into the deepest corner as well. I think he has lots of experience. It's probably um, one of the humans that collected the most fascinating collection of conversation around the topic as well, and you will see why. Started as a designer by craft. He's a strategist by nature, a huge successful podcaster as well. He might or might not know, but he shaped tons of creatives around the world with his conversation and with his long form content, but also with his podcast as well. His podcast is or was, or but it currently is still, Let's Talk Branding, has featured everyone from Byron Sharp to Tom Roach and has built a huge global audience. And honestly, some of the episodes were absolutely fire. He's worked with many brands and agencies across the Europe. He's launched his own frameworks. He contributed with his thinking to brand code, and me. But lately, he's gone also a little bit rogue, which has been very interesting for us to see. Maybe even obsessed with some of his brand journeys. And he is really, really deep into new technology and particularly into generative AI. So he's going to guide us through that as well. So I'm not going to annoy you with the sound of my voice further. So please help me welcome to the show the multi-talented, mascot-loving, insight-seeking creative mind behind Let's Talk Branding, Steph Hammerling.
Yo, yeah. Look at that big smiley grin there. It's amazing.
Mate, you've done too much shit in your career. That was
No.
too long of an intro. You gotta stop moving around.
Amazing. Well, I mean, I feel honored. I'm blushing. Like that was the best recap of my career so far.
Here we go. And we
There's a
can
lot-
close it here.
There's a lot of people here that will know who you are, but for those who don't, Steph, how do you introduce yourself usually? Like even now? Let's start with now. What you doing now?
Yeah. So Steph Hamelink, I call myself a brand builder. No longer a strategist. We can talk about that. I'm building brands currently at Allen. Very interesting brand with an amazing mascot. I'm also helping other brands across everywhere in the world with some consulting, some work wherever they need me. I also have my own little personal brand, of course, and like the Let's Talk Branding podcast that now kind of transitioned into the space where you can learn about generative AI and brand building and how that connects to each other. And yeah, for the rest, dad of two beautiful daughters and husband to a beautiful wife and living in Belgium.
And that's the topic today, secrets of brand building in a Gen AI world. But obviously, we're going to be talking about mascots as well. But I want to go back to what you just said earlier on, brand strategy and brand builder. Like, do you hate the term brand strategist?
No, obviously not. I mean, like my whole career has been around brand strategy, and it's thanks to brand strategy that I was able to level up. And what I used to say, like I was able to solve bigger problems. So like in theory, I still do a lot of brand strategic work. I just changed the title because I felt it no longer covered what I do. Like a lot of the work I'm doing for clients is like thinking about campaigns, creating content, designing assets like mascots, whatever. It's a lot more than just like the strategic part. It's really the building part, and the building part, especially, that takes years, and not just like, even when you would say like brand strategy, brand design, which is usually like you go with a client and you do 2 weeks or 3 months of like building or rebuilding their brand, and then you're like off to another client. Like for me, the building is really like, how do you build a brand long term? It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of iteration, takes a lot of experimentation. And that's where I believe like brand builder is like this kind of new hybrid profile, and especially powered by generative AI, being able to not just think about where it should go, but also build it along the way.
So the generative AI take us into this phase of your career, because it's that's what you do, right? That's
Yep.
encompasses pretty much everything that you do these days.
Yeah, and to be clear, like I'm not the AI expert or anything. There's a lot of smart people that know how these things are built and stuff like that. What for me specifically, where I come in is like I've always wanted to do like amazing stuff for brands, like basically create like Super Bowl level ads or cool things that really help them grow, grab the attention in the right way. But it wasn't always easy. Like as you know, like there's limited budget, there's limited time. It's not easy. You have to do a lot of things. You have to be present anywhere, and so a lot of times like the options for creating cool content were very limited. And then enter generative AI, basically, where now all of a sudden you have this like almost creative renaissance if you use it right, where you can do crazy, beautiful, interesting stuff, create assets that you can bring alive, that you can produce at a much faster pace, at a much cheaper pace, and that you're able to control in a way that wasn't possible before. So that's why I get really interesting, and like specifically, it's mostly about image generation, video generation, sonic, of course, sound generation, music generation, all the audio-visual stuff, 3D as well, and vibe coding. I've been digging into that later as well. It's less about the agentic or LLM or the bigger data AI analysis stuff. Like a lot of that stuff is like very far away from me. For me, it's really like how, as a brand, can you be more creative, more bold by leveraging generative AI and not produce more slop, more crap, more
Yeah.
ugliness, more boringness, because that's also happening at the same time.
Mhm.
So want to make people very clear that that is the opposite of what I want to achieve, but definitely that is coming. The tsunami of crappy content is underway, or is already here.
It
But
is.
at the same time, I believe the brands doing the right choice will have an opportunity to stand out.
Yeah, Steph, can we stay on there then? Like, so how do you do it right and how do you do it wrong? I think from the brand building perspective, it can be obvious, kind of like we know that there has to be a structure, there has to be an idea, there has to be a concept, and you know where you want the brand to be put and what needs to be happening and not. But for the people that are tapping their shoes into generative AI, so how can they approach it in the
Yeah,
right way, and what makes it wrong?
it's a good question. Like obvious, there's some obvious things. Like what you see a lot is like when people can just smell like it's like very lazy AI work. Like it's a funny example, but school just started here, like my daughter's school, and there's like this banner in front of the school with like some kids, and it's so clearly
Yeah.
like GPT, just type in something, and there's like what people are calling the piss filter. I don't know like what you mean, but it's like this yellowish, like sure that
Just sick looking people,
yeah,
isn't it?
voilà. It's very ugly. It's instantly recognizable as AI. Obviously, like that's not good, especially because like there's also a problem with what you're signaling. Like it's telling people like you're not really worth my time. Like I'm just gonna do something very quickly and cheaply. So that's an issue. As soon as you like invest time in it, as soon as you think about bringing it authentically, as soon as you infuse personality into it, like even the fact that it's AI matters a lot less. To be clear, there's at this point in time still a lot of people that kind of instantly, like if they smell AI, they just like they they get mad. Like there's a lot of people, like let's say a post gets a million views, there's gonna be 10, 20 comments that say like AI slop and you're unethical and taking jobs away from artists, and we can talk about that. But um, there is this small percentage. It's a very small percentage when you really look at how many people are looking in total at the content, but there is definitely some like pushback on it. But yeah, I think it's really about the same way you would approach making a film or a video or an ad in the old days before. It's just like have a good idea, find a way to make it feel like real, authentic, like interesting, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be polished. I think that's where a lot of people make the mistake of like they think, wow, now I can make like this Hollywood level types of shots. That's not really the point. Like for me, even with all the content with Marcel I'm creating, like I throw on a lot of like VHS effects, and I use my own audio, I use my own acting to make it interesting, to make it personal, to make it feel more real. And I think that is what people generally like are attracted to, rather than like just the fact that if you sometimes it's cool to do a Hollywood shot. Like I don't know if you know this guy on Twitter, PG Asseturo, I think he's called. Like he's making amazing ads for some US companies, and it's all like very epic, over the top. That works, but he does it in a way like he's making films. Like he's also what you see, like the people right now that are making the best AI content, they're filmmakers, they're art directors, they're creative directors. They have taste, they know what creativity is about, and they're just using new mediums to bring it. So if one thing I would say, it's creativity that drives good content with AI, the same way it was with all the other mediums before.
Yeah, 100%. And I think you said it, and it depends from the brand, but I think there is an increasing growing distrust on overly engineered and overly polished content, and especially when it comes into video. I think because people want authenticity and relatability, right? So they want to see what they see on the screen, that could look like themselves, so they can connect to themselves. I actually think that brands that have some fun and they make it a bit more scrappy, a bit more authentic, a bit more faster, I think they have also a higher chance to connect on a more natural and real level. But you're absolutely right. I think that it's all about the quality of the input, right? So if you are creative and you have the idea, you have the brand, you give a good input, then the output also will speak.
Yeah,
Um,
and just to sorry, just to interrupt there, but I think it's interesting. Like I've trained a bunch of teams on like, okay, how do you use these tools? But then what you see is like people that like they know all the tools, they know all the models, they know everything about AI, but like they did not have any background of design or aesthetic or taste. It's very hard for them to create cool stuff, even if it
Yeah.
looks like cool. They put in the latest JSON prompts into VO, and it's like, wow, I've created a template, but it's like not
It
clicking.
doesn't click, doesn't connect. Yeah.
And that's where the real work is still. Like a lot of brands think, well, okay, let's just ditch our creative agency and just use generative AI to create stuff. It's not that simple. There is an opportunity for brands to do more in-house, but there also needs to be training on creativity, on aesthetics, on design, on storytelling, on all these things before you can even start talking about these other things.
just an interesting comment on that. So I'm relating back to my previous life before self-business ownership, and I used to work in like high-end luxury, and we employed a 3D render guy to actually create jewelry for us to sell from image, right? And one of the most important things he taught me, and he was a junior, he was a really smart fucking kid. If he's ever listening, like Matt is class, but he was like, the only way we're going to sell this, and this is crazy, and he's kind of leaning into what you were just saying about being authentic and real. He's like, if we create jewelry that's stunningly perfect, it's not real. But if we add imperfections, slight imperfections to an irregularly formed like link in a chain, or the wrong, or a little bit of dirt underneath the link, it will sell more. And I was like, whatever, Matt. Like, Matt Harvey's crazy, but this kid was real. Like, and he's like, he'd do the design and he'd render it out in Rhino or whatever, and then be like, okay, now I've got to add imperfections. And you'd be like, what the fuck is this kid doing? But he was actually genuine. Like, as soon as you made it look real, as in not symmetrical 100%, slightly imperfections, but I'm not talking about like it looks green or whatever, just irregularities within this piece of jewelry, right? It worked. And I've never forgot that. And I think you can do that with AI, right? As long as it's not things synthetic. Then if we're adding imperfections into the things we do, it makes it more real and authentic, right? And again, that could be in the form of misspelling. I mean, my own GTP actually misspells because I used to misspell, like, but it does it. It's imperfection, and it comes across more real as me, right? And that's quite an interesting like spin that I've never really thought until you mentioned that.
Yeah, and I mean the whole thing about like VFX and like Hollywood studios, besides of course like creating all the fancy effects, is they put like I think 80% of their, because I've been a lot in like 3D and VFX, I really love that space. It's like just adding noise, layers, chromatic aberration, like all kinds of camera effects to make it feel real again. Like we have to indeed, like as you said, put in the imperfection to make it real. And I think that's people underestimate that. And I think also like one of the cliches that you hear a lot is like, well, AI is, yeah, it is synthetic, but everything kind of is. I mean, like even like because people say like, okay, UGC, like that's so unethical to do AI UGC. But what do you think brands are doing with like UGC? They're hiring people, paying them to say stuff, and
It's
then
not real in that
this is
sense.
user generated content. It's not like
Yeah.
now it's just an AI avatar. I mean, regardless of the fact, I kind of don't like going that angle as well because it is not the right choice, I think. But it's a bit of a like also saying film used to be like everything real. Like even a normal shot, like even in Forrest Gump, like 70% of the shots had
Yeah.
like crazy VFX backplates. So like this illusion that things were real before AI and now they're not is already thing, but a lot of the work will indeed be in like putting back some soul and some spirit and finding
Emotion,
ways to make it real.
like, yeah. And there's a few people in the chat, like Mark's talking about, imperfection is human. You could feel another human has touched it, obviously adds value. And then Wolf, hi Wolf, not spoke to you in a while, but he's saying it's similar to music production, right? Nudging things slightly off grid,
Yeah,
just to make it,
The vinyl sound as well, right? Which we don't
yeah,
need it now, but we still very much utilize. Yeah.
A very
yeah.
profound question from Mark. What is real?
Are we in the Matrix right now?
So,
Who knows? Who knows?
so Steph, we should have asked this
Earlier.
at the beginning. Yeah. So designers, branders, they aware of what a mascot is compared to, say, a traditional logo. What is the difference? Like even I'm thinking like even the difference, like say Lacoste crocodile or the jaguar in the jaguar sign. Like what's the difference and what makes a mascot more effective if that is the case?
It is the case. Let's start there. I mean, that's not my bias. I love mascots, so I'm very like biased here. But there's a lot of really good research. Like Ipsos did a huge study on like they just basically showed thousands of people ads. Some of them have characters in it. Some of them have Sonic in them. Some of them is just logos. And like characters and sound are like 9 times more effective than just putting a logo in there. It's actually, if you think about it, it's very logical. I mean, we're really good at recognizing people, remembering them, because like that's what we've been trained for millions of years. Like that's our reptile brain almost, like being able to see a face and recognize it very quick. And a character is somewhat the same thing. And then also there's this layer of like anthropomorphism where we tend to already see characters in things that aren't even alive. Like there's a lot of things in the human brain that makes us very wired and very attracted to, not attracted in that way, but attracted in the right way to these characters. Here's Marcel. So yeah, mascots, very very important, I think, and one of the most underestimated tools in the marketing box. Like we've basically been killing them for the last 20 years. There's a huge graveyard. There's also data on that like systematically we've been killing off mascots one after the other, one after the other. There's a certain fear of like not being taken serious. There's a fear of like, how do we work with this thing, like with this character? There's a fear of being like somewhat cringe. There's a lot of fears around mascots. And like, I mean, branding industry is very responsible for that as well. Like we've cleaned everything up, we've sanitized everything, we've made it very like, oh yeah, but it needs to be responsive and mobile, so you can't make it furry. Well, it's like that is your graphic identity up to a point, yeah, but we kind of threw away like, I don't know if this is a saying over there, but at least we threw away the child with the bathwater. Like we forgot that these assets are super memorable and are a huge opportunity for brand designers, for marketers, and of course for growing your brand. Sorry, I'll stop ranting now.
No, that's great.
It's very interesting. It's very interesting. So I have two questions. One is a very short one. Were you always obsessed with mascot, or it grew as you develop your brand experience?
I think it grew. I definitely had like a like some kind of a in the back of my mind, even when I was like a very young designer, like just out of school. I always like my first design assignment was like for a car wash, and I just created like Mr. Bubbles, which was like this fun, like the actual brush from the car wash, the blue brush with some eyes and some legs. So I guess there was something in me, but it took me, I think, 10 to 15 years to realize like, hey, this is not just a weird like side passion. This is actually when you think about how you think about brands and then connect this and the science, it kind of
Yeah,
clicked for me. And then there was AI, and then it was like, oh no no no, now
yeah,
now we really have to get going.
yeah. And Steph, and then I think the deeper question is like the fear, right? The fear of being childish, the fear of not being taken seriously, the fear of being too different. And I think these are very real fears that everyone that is a brand builder, I'm sure, has heard tons of times and has to build arguments to defend creativity, originality, and going the other way. What is going on? Where are these fears being originated
And
from?
also, before you answer that, because I can add on to that, is it might not be fear. Is it the fact that it might not be right for some audiences, some industries, some spaces, some products, some services?
Yep. Yeah. The fear, like there's this really good book by Paul Feldwick, How Does the Peddler Sing? And he has some other books as well. It's all about kind of like how marketing used to be very entertaining. Like it was basically showmanship. Like he makes the link with like PT Barnum and like the original like the circus, and like these people were like the OG
Mhm.
marketers. Like they go in the streets, they entertain people, and they sell product along the way. There's a lot of good research today, like from TikTok, System One, that like entertainment is the number one factor of getting attention and growth, and also profitability even. So all of these things considered, like why are we afraid of entertaining? I think again, like one of the big reasons is the whole like the rise of digital marketing. There was this idea that like, okay, now that we can measure things, like let's make just very rational ads, get conversions, and grow that way. And like we kind of threw away this idea of that we really need to entertain people. There's also just like there was a rise of like a bunch of things, like brands thought that they need to be very serious. Purpose driven was a trend in there as well, that didn't help in like the idea of I think Simon Sinek kind of pushed it too far, where brands were like, we need to have a why, it needs to be very emotional, and we need to save the world. Like I know there's a lot of nuance in this space, and purpose can have its effects, but there was some people that go too far in this, and that also again, like mascots don't fit in that world, very hard. So there's a bunch of reasons, definitely why we have fears about that, which is great, by the way. I'm very happy with that. That leaves us with a space with like a lot of opportunity for me, for other brands to do take mascots and take the risk. And then the other question, Ash, that you had about like, is it right for all brands? I mean, probably not. But like, as far as I have seen, like you would be surprised how far it can go. And it's interesting. Like there's even some luxury brands that have interesting mascot. There's
That's
like,
what I was thinking along those lines. Like, if
Yeah.
there's a certain personality a brand has adopted over time, and even kind of their tone of voice is not irreverent, maybe say, um, then like shoehorning a mascot because it's the thing to do,
yeah,
is that going to work? Or
probably
This is
not.
cultural, isn't it, Steph?
Yeah, yeah,
Like there are culture like Japan where are absolutely obsessed. Like every single thing has a
yeah,
mascot
yeah.
straight on your face in it. Like
Exactly. I mean, yeah, you're right.
Mm,
There's brands, and I never force this on brands. By the way, it's not like clients come
yeah,
here
yeah,
like, okay, you can only come with me if you have a mascot. But now the opposite obviously is happening. People are coming to me because I'm the
Yeah, I
mascot
wanted
guy.
to dig into that. That was my next question, but you
Uh,
finish and we'll close that loop.
yeah, I just want to just one more example of, because like the typical space where like people say, well, you can't have a mascot. It's like B2B is already hard, but then get into B2B insurance. Like that's
Yeah.
very serious
Yeah.
stuff, right?
Mm.
Well, Alan is B2B health insurance.
Yeah.
Like you can't imagine the amount of responses we get from customers, from prospects all over the world. Like, I love this brand because the fluffy bear, like it stood out to me in the category. It's a boring category, it's all boring brands. This is a warm brand, this feels like a human brand. Even if like Alan the fluffy bear is not a human, it makes us feel like a brand that is a lot more closer to the people. So again, like I think there is opportunity for a lot of brands in a lot of spaces, and even the most unexpected spaces. Obviously, like a legacy luxury brand that has a certain reputation in a certain way, it's going to be hard, although there are some exceptions to that as well. So yeah,
Mm.
lots of opportunity for sure. Sorry, Wes, what did
That,
you
that was kind of it. I was going to try and like, I like to kind of help our audience and listeners, you know, how do they get set about like this journey and you know, end up in a place where they can, without being an amazing kind of mascot designer, but how can they almost, you know, pick up the courage to address this and bring it into their own day to day? Because I think that's the challenge, right? You've made this reputation. They, from what I'm hearing, they came to you to bring you in. You created this brand and you made it human. You called it human name and you gave it this fluffy bear character in it. But how does a guy, a brand manager, a creative director, in the day to day, how do they bring this into this world and go, right, either in house, in agency, you know, this is where we're going to recommend, because that's where the challenge is going to come, you know?
Yep. Yeah,
And
and it's a good question. There's not an easy answer. It's the same with like, how do you get companies to be more bold, to be more creative? Like,
yeah.
the first thing I always say is like, well, at least show them the data. That's a good starting point. But it's not gonna be enough. Like, if there is a culture of like no risk taking, if there is a culture of like certain perception, especially also if like the founder or the CEO of the company is very attached to a certain style of branding, I mean, sometimes it's just not possible. Like, and that's fair. But there is two things. Like, one, I do see a rise in a lot of brands now being interested in characters. Obviously, this might be a very like self-fulfilling prophecy. As I'm talking more about it, people are coming more to me, so I see a rise in requests. That doesn't mean it's happening all around, but I do think, because like the brands that you see that are doing really interesting stuff are often brands that have like interesting assets to do something with, like Duolingo, and obviously these assets are very often mascots, but it can be other things. Like recently, Lacoste did this cool campaign, like you saw it probably, where they just did a play on their assets. But you have to have those assets. Like that's the whole thing. So brands are trying to, like, first you need to have a palette of interesting distinctive brand assets, or whatever you want to call it, brand codes, and then you can start playing with them, then you can start scaling them. And I think that's where people are starting to see, okay, digital conversion oriented just paid marketing alone isn't working. Like, cost of acquisition is rising through the roof. It's very hard to acquire new customers at some point. We need to build brand. But how do we build brand? Like, how do we grow without like just paying Meta another million a week for getting more customers? Okay, we need to build brand. How do you build brand? You need to be creative. You need to grab the attention. How do you grab the attention if creating just like because that used to be enough? It used to be enough to just produce a beautiful video. Like, you pay a good video agency
Mhm.
$20,000, go make us a corporate video, and it already kind of stood out because it was like, oh wow, production level is better than what we had. But that is today no longer like differentiating in your feed, because you can produce a lot of stuff today. So again, where do you build brand? How do you get the attention? It's through having these assets that are interesting, where you can do stuff with. And that's where, again, like, you can build that case, but it takes a while. And what I would say is, you can start by giving examples. You can start by showing the signs, and then you can start, because most characters actually are born from a campaign, from a one-off. Like almost all characters, iconic characters, were actually like, hey, let's do this funny ad with this funny character, and then they see like, oh wow, this ad really works, and then they start thinking, maybe this character is actually something that we start working with, and then it becomes part of the brand. So if you're working for a brand, maybe try doing one campaign with a character in it and see if then at some point it can work for the brand overall.
Can I just reframe a question that was in the chat? So Raza has asked, like, how do you guys even define a mascot in modern advertising? And I was kind of asking the same thing, like, if we look at the word mascot, it's a person or an object that's designed to bring good luck or something like that. I can't remember.
Wes is our mascot.
Yeah, I am your mascot. Yeah, I am the squeaky. So how would you challenge that? Like, is it, have you got your definition of that, right now?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, for in the most simple way, it's like a character that represents your brand. Very simple. Like it's something. It's similar to what McDonald's arches are, but then in the shape of a character that has behavior, that has personality, that has a distinct look that you can. It's not enough to say our character, like our mascot is a duck, and it's just an average duck. Like then it's not a mascot, because anyone can.
And it's an average brand as well, isn't it? Well, it's like what you're saying before, isn't it? Just putting shitty AI content out there, it also kind of implies that you're a shitty brand, shitty company.
Yeah, voila, that's it. So it needs to have a certain character, a certain look, and then obviously people need to associate it with your brand. There is an interesting thing happening now with, like, for me as well, like personal brand is a very interesting space to have mascots or not. Like it used to be something like, why would you do that? You are your mascot. And actually, like, I don't know if you know Haris Spahic, a really interesting content marketing guy. We started exploring this idea together of like, should we have our own mascot? He has like Calvin Cooks, really, like you should check him out. He does fun stuff. And I have like Marcel now. I killed my first mascot because that didn't work.
Who was your first mascot, on that note, quickly?
Sorry?
What was your first mascot?
It was a pigeon called Otto, but Marcel.
I do remember it.
Marcel ate him, so yeah, now he's dead.
Let's see what comes after Marcel.
Can I
Jacob has one as well, right? So
he's got the flamingo.
The flamingo.
Yeah, Jacob. Yeah, of course. Like, and so, oops.
Hello.
I'm still here.
Hello,
Marcel said, "I'm going to kill you now."
Hello, I'm here now.
Look, wait, hold Marcel up, because I don't know if many people know this, but I designed a mascot too. So this was like one of the most ROI driven brands I've ever worked on. The biggest like I made out of return in 3-4 years. So this is Tully. This is the original sample, but we actually brought a Sonic into him as well. So when he bounced, he squeaked. And that, obviously, going back to everything you're saying, it totally relates to how quickly this grew, like this brand grew. And it was a bathroom brand, bro. It was a bathroom brand. Like, so I'm with you.
It's amazing, like the places you do encounter mascots, and always brands that have mascots, they tell me like, dude, you can't imagine the power of it. It's just ridiculous. Like any client I encounter, like yesterday I was talking to a good friend who I'm also helping. Like they have Mother Duck, which is like a very it's like databases, and it's called Mother Duck, which is also a great name. And then it's all ducks everywhere, but it's so cool because in this boring space of B2B, whatever, selling database structures and frameworks, like you come in there with your duck, you're gonna be remembered. It's very basic, but it works.
So here's a question: should the mascot have some kind of link or relevance with the company in terms of what they're doing? Like, for example, that elephant bathroom brand, water through the trunk, right? I can't think of another. Oh yeah, there's one. I don't know whether it's a UK or it's Europe, but it's Compare the Market. They've got a meerkat.
Yeah,
it's Compare the Meerkat. So there's that association, and people remember that, right? So should there be that, or can it be something completely random when you build the association over time?
it's an interesting balance. Like I don't know if you know Austin Frankie or like even Byron Sharp would say like, no, it's meaningless differentiation. You just take the most
Mm.
random thing ever, and that will make sure that like it won't be category specific and it will be easier to stand out. I
Mm.
don't really believe that. Like I think there's always like a little bit of a tie-in, even if it's just like a personal thing. Like the story of Alan is like, I don't know if you know this funny meme where it's like this marmot coming out of things like Alan, Alan, Alan. It's like a very funny YouTube thing. Like, and that was it. Like they saw that it was shouting Alan, and it was like, okay, let's have a marmot, like a random creature, and then that evolved into whatever it is right now. People don't know that, but for the company at least, it's interesting to have a link. Like this is like Steve for Brief, which is like a B2B SaaS company that does they collect all kinds of mails, physical and digital services, and they bring it together. So yeah, this is like the idea of like pigeon carrier pigeon.
Yeah.
And it's like a bit of a modern. So there is an obvious link here. With Marcel, it was really like almost the point of like you can take a random animal. Like for me, I like dogs. Let's take a blue dog. That's a bit weird. And then let's give him like a, now it's just an M, but his full abbreviation on his hat is MMGA, Make Mascots Great Again. And he has this little gold skull necklace, which is for me like trying to say like be weird, be yourself, unleash yourself, do weird shit, do unexpected shit. That's it. Like it's not a mega thought out story. What's interesting about mascots is you develop them along the way together with your audience. That's a strategy that like I learned from Duolingo, which is like first it was just this cute little owl in the app, but then people started commenting like I didn't make my streak, owl, I'm sorry. And then they started commenting like, you didn't make your streak, have you been naughty? And then they bought a suit, and they started playing into the comments. Like basically the comment section was their briefing for their next piece of content. And that then it blew up, then it became viral, like because they built it together. And like this idea of like what Dan Salke calls the lore, the brand lore, it's something you can't, like you can have, for every mascot I create, I have some sort of base story, but the idea is like, let's keep it open enough and be able to just like, if somebody says like, hey, why is that the case, like you can explore that, can be turned into a totally different path. So kind of build it together.
Fluid, yeah.
That's the most powerful way to have like really good mascots that are not just like the traditional mascot is Tony the Tiger. You put it on the front of your pack, it doesn't move, it's only there, it's always in the same way. Okay, maybe you have it in ads in a very controlled way, but you don't let your audience like engage with it in a real way. And I think that's where today we're in a very interesting space where like what I always say, like unleash your assets. Like unleashing really means letting go of control and even giving control to your audience so they can start doing stuff. That's why I created the Marcel mascot.
I was going to mention that now. Yeah. So from where went from obviously initially 2D to then the 3D renders like the Blender or Cinema 4D or whatever. Now it's a completely different space altogether. So yeah, tell us a little bit more about that, because we obviously spoke about it off camera, but the marcelmascot.com, why do it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just wrote an article about this yesterday, like the idea of brands as an operating system, where again, like it's the idea that it's not just like a logo or a one-way set of messages or like whatever, a static identity. The idea is like generative AI enables you to become almost like a living thing, and not just living as in like breathing, talking, walking, but also like interactive, almost where people like can go and create stuff that they like because they like to interact with it. It's almost like your brand becomes a sort of Minecraft. And I made this like Marcel mascot site, which is basically a sandbox for people to have fun with. Like they can hug with Marcel, they can hug their own mascot just by uploading images. It's all powered by, generative AI image models and stuff like that. They can do drawings, and then that transforms into Marcel. And it's just the beginning. Like for me, it's like infinite. There will be games there. There will be whatever. It's really fun. Like when I have a new customer now, I just send them like a hug with Marcel.
Yeah,
It's
it's
all
so
like
smart.
little things, but it works. And like just to make a counter example there, like I love Ghibli. I don't know if you guys know,
Yeah,
the Ghibli.
Yeah.
I mean, the art, the craft of these people, it's otherworldly. Like the amount of time and love they put in their movies, it's amazing. But what's interesting is like they got a bit angry, and like they didn't like the fact that everybody was Ghiblifying their stuff. Like was like, oh, you're taking our art, which our precious art, where we put so much time in. I get it. I mean, if you're so obsessed with it, it's normal. But they missed the opportunity. They could have created the sandbox, and
Mm.
people would have wanted to play in their sandbox on their terms with their art. Now it's just like people are generating it anyway in other models, and okay, regardless of the maybe a bit unethical fact that all these AI companies are just scraping the internet, it's a bit of like that's where I'm trying to make my point is like, as a brand, if you have created the assets, if you have started to build some sort of IP, don't just like keep it in, like
Mm.
interact with people, make them build stuff, and that will only grow your brand.
Mm.
So
I love that.
I want
Go
to do
on.
this real time though. Like, so I'll put the links in the chats. I've already had like 2 plays at it. I tried like getting him in the water cooler, but it only kind of put some dodgy looking Italian guy and some South Asian guy into it. But I want everyone to just jump in and create some images now. Come on, do it. Do it real time. I
Yeah,
want to
have
see
some
some code.
fun. Spend my compute credits, guys. Like bring
Let's
Um,
broke Steph.
we can
Steph,
do this
I love your
while we're
story.
the next. Yeah,
Yeah,
Martin, jump in
yeah.
while everyone's doing that.
I love the story. You know why? I don't know why it made me think about IKEA and how we treasure when we build our own
yeah,
furniture. And it's a piece of shit. It's like a 30 euro bedstead, but I built it,
voila.
and
Yeah,
because
there's
you build it, that it gets sticky in your brain and you love it. And it's the same with the mascot. You're absolutely right. Set it free in the wild. Let people have fun with your mascot, with your assets, because it will be very hard for them to forget, and they will start caring about it as well. Look, I'm with the mascot.
yeah. I remember last year for Alan, we did this thing where people could send out like a healthy wishes end of year postcard, and they typed in their name and then like a sort of like mini situation and the name of the person. And so what came out was our mascot wearing the cool sweater of that person and like healthy wishes, something cute. Like we put that out, like just let's see what happens. And like I think in a couple of days it was like 27,000 cards generated. Servers started failing everywhere. The guys
Amazing.
internally was like, what is happening here? Like we didn't anticipate the server load at all. And it
Amazing.
just goes to show that like, people like want to interact. If you do fun stuff, like just don't put out another white paper and a lead magnet.
Yeah.
It's fucking boring. Like,
Yeah, people want to play.
yeah.
Steph, I have a more practical question. So let's say we have our mascot. Let's say we use the whatever generative AI to make it. Like, but how do you keep it consistent across the different
Mm,
days that you want to generate it, right?
yeah.
So one day I want him to do this, one day I want him to do that, and I know AI is really bad at having memory, and every day kind of looks a bit different. So what's the trick in there?
Well, I mean, as the people looking at Marcel Mascot, you can see like all the images coming out right now. They're all Marcel. Like sometimes he's missing a hat. I can fix that. That's no problem. The way I did that is you just train a LoRa, which is like a custom image model. You feed it a data set of like 15 to 50 images, however detailed you want to get, and then it basically understands how your character looks like, front, top, left, right, bottom, whatever, how the tail looks like. And then you just like create text to image prompts, and it will know, because it's your custom image model, your proprietary model, it will know how to generate your specific mascot. And then there's like a bunch of new technology, like Google just dropped their new nano banana model, which is
Yes,
just like
amazing.
insanely good at just like from one or two even character references. So even if you have like an image from Midjourney, one image, like ask it to do like make it like ask in Midjourney to do like a 360 turnaround, take screenshots, feed that into Nana Banana, and you're good to go. Like even the model training is already something that is more like when you're like really want to do something at scale for a longer time, and the technology is like evolving every day. So it like a year ago it was such a hassle to have consistency across characters, especially like that's the problem. Like with humans it's okay because like these models are trained on a lot of humans, but not with your character, because your character is specific. If it's a good character, it's nothing else everyone has ever seen before, so it's very hard for the AI. So you kind of need to like first build that mini data set by luck and a lot of iteration, and then as soon as you have a consistent set of images, you can create more, and then you can create better and better and better and at some point it becomes very easy.
Going back to the generator though, Mark's is genius.
I can see Mark's one. Yeah, I can see Mark's
So
one.
Which one is it? I'm looking.
it's the guy. It's the one with the ginger beard and the.
Oh,
Oh
yeah,
my
yeah.
god.
That literally is Mark in a nutshell.
Yeah,
Mark's brand is so good that like as soon as I saw that, I knew it
I
was
do
Mark.
too.
Yeah, it's so good.
Right, Steph. Let's talk a little bit more about you outside of mascots. Let's
Da, 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 da.
let's dig into what do you do outside of brand building? What do you do outside of dreaming up mascots? What's a weekend look like for you?
weekend probably still generating mascots. I'm seriously obsessed with this. Like my daughter kind of knows. She's laughing with me like, are you doing mascots again? But besides that, like I'm a total internet geek, but when I do have free time, I'm like I need to be out in nature, so whenever I can I go camping, I go running. I like the deeper and the further away from a computer I am, the better, because then I'm at least not triggered. So yeah, that's like my other Marcel. Sorry, it's a good one. Yeah, that's my totally different passion. And then just a lot of good cafes, a lot of good beers, a lot of good food, going out with my wife and the family, and just enjoying life. That's what I like to do when I'm not
Sounds
mascot.
like you, Wes, minus the mascots.
Maybe. How does music come into your life? Is it important?
Music?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm especially when I'm like into the vibe, whatever, vibe coding, vibe marketing, vibe whatever. Like it's just like playlists can have a huge impact on what I create. I used to be like a DJ for a long time. I played at clubs, like a house DJ. A lot of fun with that. But now I'm just like it like sometimes it's like I need a classical music for a certain vibe. Sometimes I need like gangster rap. Sometimes I need big fat house beats, like whatever. But it really helps me to go in a certain direction.
So what song do you sing in the shower?
Oh, that's a good question. Wow.
Come on,
Call me.
what's your answer? I love that. Hey, I think we broke your Marcel mascot thing, by the way.
Yes, thank you. That's what it's meant to do.
Anytime, buddy, anytime.
If you look at the Draw Marcel app, like that's the most weird one. I should have mentioned that experimental, but actually some of the results are just like you can filter on it if you go in the gallery and then just filter on like Marcel drawings. There's some weird stuff, but like it's so cool because if you click on the drawing, then you can click on show original and you can show like where it got it from. And it's really interesting to see like how you can push the envelope here. And like again, I'm gonna make a video about just weird Marcel talking. Yeah.
So lastly, like have you got any questions for us? Anything you want to ask?
I'm curious, like because I know a lot of people in the branding field, and I know you guys, like you follow like you work with Marty, or you follow him a lot, and I know he's very skeptical, rightly so, I guess. But I'm curious about your take about like generative AI and how you feel it will impact branding.
Come on, Ash.
Or did you expect something more low key? Like, what's your favorite?
No.
I love AI because it's one of the I've always been the type of, like, I love gadgets, I love new things, I love playing around. So all of the whole vibe marketing, vibe coding, like even though I don't do it properly, I do it for fun and I enjoy it. And but in terms of branding, I'm definitely on your page. Like you can do it badly and you can do it properly.
Mm.
It's not going anywhere, and it's an evolution of things, right? In a lot
Yeah.
of areas, it's like probably the biggest change we've seen in our lifetime.
Yeah.
So, which means that it's not going anywhere. But how do you adapt to that? How do you do it properly? And
Yeah.
I think the people that do invest their time doing it properly will be the winners out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think AI makes average brands average and great brands great. I think it's how you use it, right? I think
Yeah.
it's like before that we had SEO. You have to do SEO good, and now we have the large language model. Now we have AI, and in a few years we will have something else. I think the good brands are the brands that are able to adapt, and that like humans. I think
Mm.
humans that are able to adapt, they will do well. Humans that are not able to adapt, natural selection. There you go.
We're all the same. I think we were like early adopters, weren't we? Like even at
Yeah,
work,
we loved it immediately.
like brought it straight in inside, really not client side, but now we've brought it in client side as well in workshops, which is really starting to help. And then clever things like creating your own GTP, and I think I've said it numerous times on this show, but I've created my own and I ask myself my own questions, like and I, you know what I mean, I prompt myself, which is quite interesting, like the
Yeah.
I want to see Wes pissed at 3 a.m. chatting with himself. I think that must be lovely.
Because no one else answers the phone.
Hey, Wes! No, you wish! No, you
Actually,
wish!
like it's a lesson I learned yesterday from like Magdi, the guy from Mother Duck I was talking about earlier. He told me like it's a really good prompt is like not because I ask my chat GPT a lot for like prompts and stuff, but often it's like give me a prompt for this, and then it just like fills in a lot of assumptions and gives you something. But actually, like the idea is I want to achieve something along like this is my idea, this is my concept. Ask me all the questions you need to properly create a prompt, and then sometimes like it will ask you 10 questions about what personality, what's the goal, what's the time, what's the audience, and then you will have something a lot more pretty. So it's a really good point about like not just asking it to do something, but asking it to ask you stuff is like way more powerful, and I think a lot of people are sleeping on that use case.
Agree.
Yeah, it's brilliant because also sometimes like the more you fight it, the more you have the conversation, the better you get. So doing that, you preempt the fact of having a
Yeah.
long conversation and fighting it and just swearing at it until something gets
Maybe
out.
maybe one day I'll share the link to my GTP and get people to use it.
Voilà, voilà, voilà.
Chat with Wes. Chat with Wes.
So Steph, before we go, because we're on the hour now, just prep for this. Obviously, I've seen you around and followed some of your work, but I only got introduced to your Substack in preparation for this call, and I thought it was brilliant. There's a treasure trove of information there, so that's one place that people should go. Check your Substack out. Where else, and what else can they do to keep in like close proximity to you online?
Yep. So yeah, LinkedIn is definitely place where like I post like all the stuff that I do. Also been having some fun with short form video on TikTok and on Meta, well on Instagram at least. And then Twitter is where I hang out with the real AI tech bros. That's more like weird stuff, but it's Twitter is still the place, or I should say X, where a lot of like really interesting underground stuff is happening. So that's where like if you want to see some of that stuff happening, follow me
I
there.
think it's amazing. I think that side of X is amazing.
Yeah.
Obviously there's the bad side, but that side definitely is good. I've seen people like build stuff in public in 24 hours and then selling their companies for a decent amount of money.
It's
Like
crazy.
the opportunity to learn on X from these people that are doing it in public is amazing.
Yeah, and just one more thing. But yeah, definitely the Substack is like the main hub, and that's where I have this thing called the Buckle Up Briefing. This is like a remnant of my podcast, where basically every week, or no, every 2 weeks, I do a breakdown, like a real tutorial of something I built, like whether it's a video or the Marcel mascot. Like it's like full on all the steps, like behind the scenes.
Oh, brilliant.
That is a paid newsletter, but anyway, it's just so
Yeah, well, it's definitely worth paying for that,
know.
because if someone wants to get into it, they need to learn.
yeah.
And
Well,
what better way to do it than like follow someone that's been doing it
And
for.
to add to that, he'll be on the brand summit with me. So there's two of them.
exactly.
He has a candle that smells like him. I have one that
Yeah.
smells like me.
Heads up to Jacob and his awesome summit.
Yeah,
Well done.
great community to be part of, man. Definitely.
Exactly, it's amazing, and it's also a brand builder. So I'm fully in the mission.
Yeah, I've just drew something, so let's see what happens.
Steph, Marcel, thank you very much to both of you. Have a lovely, lovely weekend, and don't kill Marcel this time.
I won't. He's gonna stick around forever. Thanks so much,
Everybody says
everyone.
bye. Say
Ciao,
bye.
ciao.
Bye,
See you
mate.
later.
Bye, Steph. Thank you. It's another of those conversations could have gone forever. I had another 5 questions.
So interesting.
I didn't even get started. I would love to just drink with him in a bar, like just pick his brains.
Yeah,
Yes,
he's very
can-
knowledgeable about a lot of things.
Can we build each other mascots?
Yeah, I had a
Awesome.
play one, you know. Mine was an exclamation mark for confidential. Like
It's got me thinking for sure.
I actually did like want to do this. Definitely.
Mark is off the pot.
Mark's on it.
Well, guys. Well, this is it, I think, right? Don't forget to like, subscribe, tell your grandma, tell a friend, and
See you in 2 weeks.
Sweet. Who we have next week? Who we have in 2 weeks?
Nosy. We have a new strap line that we need to keep telling. Like I'll keep trying to plug it, but you know, grab a beer, tell a peer. Let's see you all in 2 weeks.
I think that's our cue to go.
West did that. The Westing TP. Bye.
Bye, guys. Ciao.